Welcome back to the English Academy. I'm your host Edward, and I bet you'll be able to improve your English after listening to the video. 1. How to order a coffee at a cafe. Alright, let's talk about something super common, ordering a coffee at a cafe. If you've ever walked into a coffee shop and felt a little nervous about what to say or how to ask for what you want, don't worry, you're definitely not alone. A lot of people feel that way, especially if they're learning English. So, let's go through it step by step. First, you walk into the cafe. You might hear a barista, that's the person who makes the coffee, say, "Hi there, what can I get for you today?" Or something similar like, "What would you like?" At this point, it's your turn to say what you want. A simple way to start is by saying, "Can I get a," and then just add your drink. For example, "Can I get a small latte?" Or, "Can I get an iced coffee with milk?" You can also say, I'll have a cappuccino, please." The word, please, is always good to add, it makes you sound polite and friendly. If you're not sure what you want, you can say, "What do you recommend?" Or, "What's popular here?" That shows that you're interested and open to trying something new. Now, let's say you want something specific, like oat milk instead of regular milk, or less sugar. You can just say, "Can I get that with oat milk?" Or, "Could you make it with less sugar, please?" It's totally okay to customize your drink. And if they ask, "For here or to go?" they just want to know if you'll drink it there or take it with you. For here means you'll sit in the cafe, to go means you'll take it out. Finally, when you're done, a simple, "Thank you," goes a long way. It's all about keeping it simple and friendly. The more you practice, the easier it gets. 2. How to ask for directions in a new city. Okay, picture this, you're visiting a new city, maybe you're on vacation, maybe you just moved there, and you need to find something. Maybe it's a museum, a train station, or even just a public bathroom. But you're not sure where it is, and the map on your phone isn't helping. What do? You ask someone. Asking for directions might feel a little scary at first, but trust me, most people are happy to help. The key is to start with a friendly tone. You can begin with, "Excuse me," or, "Hi, sorry to bother you," that makes it clear you're being polite. Then you can say something like, "Could you tell me how to get to the train station?" Or, "Do you know where the closest grocery store is?" If you're not sure how to say the name of the place, it's totally fine to show them a photo or the name written down on your phone. People will usually point and say something like, "Go straight for 2 blocks, then turn left," or, "It's right around the corner." If they say, "blocks," that just means the sections of the street between traffic lights. They might also say, "intersection," which is where 2 streets cross. You can ask follow-up questions like, "Is it far from here?" Or, "Can I walk there?" And if you didn't catch what they said, don't be shy, just say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "Can you say that a bit slower?" Most people will totally understand. And when you get the info you need, don't forget to say, "Thank you so much." Or, "I really appreciate it." That little bit of kindness goes a long way. So next time you're lost, don't panic. Just breathe, smile, and ask someone nearby. You got this. Awesome. Here's the third 10-minute long paragraph, continuing in the same casual, natural spoken style. 3. How to talk to a cashier at the grocery store. Alright, let's talk about something super common, talking to a cashier at the grocery store. Whether you're just buying a few snacks or doing your weekly shopping, you're probably going to talk to a cashier at some point. And guess what? It's one of the easiest and most helpful ways to practice your English in everyday life. So here's what usually happens. You get in line with your items, and when it's your turn, the cashier might say, "Hi, how are you?" Or, "Did you find everything okay?" You don't have to say anything fancy, just a simple, "I'm good, thanks." "How are you?" works great. Or if you didn't find something, you can say, "Actually, I was looking for," and then name the item. Once they start scanning your items, they might ask things like, "Do you have a membership card?" Or, "Would you like a bag?" If you don't know what they said, just politely ask, "Sorry, could you say that again?" It's totally fine, they're used to that. When it's time to pay, they might say, "Your total is $12.35, or just $12.35. You can pay with cash or card. If you're using cash, just hand over the bills. If you're using a card, they'll point to the machine and say something like, "You can tap or insert." That just means you can tap your card or put it in the machine. Sometimes they'll ask, "Do you want your receipt?" That's the little paper that shows what you bought. You can say, "Yes, please," or, "No, thank you." And when you're done, they'll probably say, "Have a nice day." Just respond with, "You too." Or, "Thanks, you too." It's a short, simple conversation, but it's a great chance to practice being friendly and confident. Every time you do it, it gets a little easier. 4. How to order food at a restaurant. Let's say you're going out to eat, maybe with friends, family, or just by yourself. Ordering food at a restaurant can feel a little tricky at first, especially if you're not sure what to say. But once you learn the basic steps, it's actually pretty simple. So, first things first, you walk in, and someone might greet you and ask, "Hi. How many?" Or, "Table for two." That just means how many people are in your group. You can respond with, "Just me," or, "Two, please." Then they'll show you to a table and give you a menu. When you're ready to order, the server might ask, "Are you ready to order?" Or, "Can I take your order?" You can say, "Yes, I'll have the grilled chicken," or, "Can I get the veggie burger with fries?" Saying, "Please," and, "Thank you," is always a nice touch. If you have a question, like, "What comes with the burger?" Or, "Does this have dairy?" don't be afraid to ask. They're used to answering those kinds of things. If you want to change something, like no onions or dressing on the side, you can say, "Can I get that without onions?" Or, "Could I have the sauce on the side?" After the meal, they'll probably ask, "Can I get you anything else?" Or, "Would you like dessert?" If you're done, just say, "No, thank you. Just the check, please." And when they bring the bill, you pay, leave a tip if that's expected, and say, "Thanks. Have a great night." Easy, right? 5. How to make a doctor's appointment. Alright, this one's super important, making a doctor's appointment. It's something everyone has to do at some point, and it can feel a little intimidating if you're doing it in English. But don't worry, I'll walk you through it. Usually, you'll call the doctor's office or maybe use an app or website. If you're calling, someone might answer and say, "Hello, Drive Smith's office, how can I help you?" You can say, "Hi, I'd like to make an appointment, please." They might ask, "What's the appointment for?" You can say something simple like, "I need a checkup," or, "I'm not feeling well." Then they'll ask for your information, your name, maybe your date of birth, and if you've been there before. They might ask, "Is this your first visit?" Just say yes or no. After that, they'll give you a time and date. Make sure to repeat it back, like, "Okay, Friday at 10 a.m., got it." If you need to cancel or change the appointment later, you can say, "Hi, I need to reschedule my appointment." And when you actually go to the doctor's office, you'll check in at the front desk and say, "Hi, I have an appointment at 10. Super simple. The key is just being polite and clear. You don't have to use big words, just say what you need and don't be afraid to ask questions. 6. How to start a conversation with someone new. Okay, let's talk about something that can be kind of scary, starting a conversation with someone new. Maybe you're at a party, in a class, or waiting at a bus stop. You want to talk, but you're not sure what to say. First of all, don't worry. Most people feel nervous about starting conversations. One of the easiest ways to begin is with a simple comment. You can say something like, "It's really nice today, isn't it?" Or, "This class is interesting so far." These small comments are called small talk, and they're a great way to break the ice. If you're at an event or a gathering, you can say, "How do you know the host?" Or, "Have you been here before?" People usually respond with something that keeps the conversation going. It's okay to ask questions, just keep them simple and friendly. "What do you do?" or, "What are you studying?" are great options. And if you're worried about awkward silence, just smile, listen, and show interest. Most people are happy to talk if you seem friendly and relaxed. And if the conversation doesn't go anywhere, that's okay too. You tried. The more you practice, the easier it gets. 7. How to handle a job interview. Alright, this one's a big deal, going to a job interview. It can definitely be stressful, especially in English. But if you prepare a little, you'll feel much more confident. First, show up on time. If it's in person, arrive about 10 minutes early. If it's online, make sure your camera and microphone work. When you meet the interviewer, they'll probably start with something like, "Thanks for coming in," or, "How are you today?" Just smile and say, "I'm doing well, thank you." One of the first questions is usually, "Can you tell me about yourself?" That's your chance to give a short summary, like, "I'm a graphic designer with 3 years of experience," or, "I just graduated and I'm excited to start working in this field." Then they might ask about your experience or your skills. Try to give clear, short answers. Use examples if you can, like, "In my last job, I worked on a team to launch a new website." If you don't understand a question, it's totally okay to say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "I'm not sure I understand, could you explain?" At the end, they'll probably ask, "Do you have any questions for us?" You can ask something like, "What's a typical day like in this role?" Or, "What are the next steps?" And don't forget to say, "Thank you for your time." At the end, being polite, prepared, and positive really makes a great impression. 8. How to make small talk at a party. Let's say you're at a party or social event, and you want to talk to people, but it's kind of awkward because you don't know anyone. Totally normal. One easy trick is to look for someone who's not in a big group. Go up, smile, and say something casual like, "Hey, I'm Alex. What's your name?" Or, "This place is cool, have you been here before?" You don't need to be super funny or interesting, just be friendly. Ask about the food, the music, or how they know the host. Small talk is all about light, easy topics. You can ask, "What do you do?" Or, "Have you done anything fun recently?" And if they ask you questions, try to give answers that lead to more conversation. Like instead of just saying, "Yes," or, "No," you can add a little detail. "Yeah, I just got back from a short trip. It was great." If you start to feel nervous or like the conversation is ending, it's fine to say, "Nice talking to you, I'm gonna grab a drink." And move on. Parties are for meeting people, so don't feel bad about floating around. Every time you start a little chat, you get better at it. 9. How to talk to a teacher or professor. Talking to a teacher or professor can feel a bit formal, especially if you're not used to the school system. But teachers are there to help, and most of them are very happy when students reach out. So let's say you have a question or need help. You can start with an email or go up to them before or after class. Say something like, "Hi, do you have a moment?" Or, "Excuse me, I had a question about the homework." If you're writing an email, keep it simple and polite. Start with, "Dear Professor Smith," or, "Hi, Drive Lee," then explain what you need. "I'm having trouble understanding the reading for this week. Could we talk about it?" Or, "I wasn't able to attend class yesterday. Could you let me know what I missed?" Always say, "Thank you," at the end. It shows respect and appreciation. And if they give you feedback, don't be afraid to ask questions like, "How can I improve this?" Or, "Can you explain this part a little more?" Remember, it's totally okay not to understand everything. The important thing is that you're trying, and that's what teachers love to see. 10. How to talk on the phone in English. Okay, this one can feel a little scary, talking on the phone in English. You don't have body language or facial expressions to help, and sometimes people speak quickly. But don't worry, there's a way to make it easier. First, always start with a greeting. If you're calling someone, say, "Hi, this is Eddie. I'm calling about," and then say your reason. Like, "Hi, this is Maria. I'm calling to confirm my appointment." If you're answering the phone, say, "Hello." And if it's a business call, maybe, "Hello, this is the ABC company, how can I help you?" If you don't understand something, say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "Can you speak a bit more slowly, please?" It's totally okay to ask for clarification. If you need to leave a message, say, "Hi, this is Eddie. My number is 1,234,567,890. Please call me back when you can." And always end with something polite like, "Thanks. Have a great day." Practicing with a friend or even recording yourself can really help. Just take your time, speak clearly, and don't worry about being perfect. You've got this. 11. How to return or exchange something at a store. Okay, let's say you bought something, maybe a shirt or a phone charger, and when you got home, it didn't fit or didn't work. What do? You go back to the store to return or exchange it. Don't worry, this happens all the time. When you get to the store, go to the customer service desk or the cashier and say, "Hi, I'd like to return this, please," or, "Can I exchange this for a different size?" They might ask, "Do you have the receipt?" That's the little paper or email that shows proof of purchase. If you have it, great. If not, just say, "I don't have the receipt, can I still return it?" Sometimes they can help you anyway. They may also ask, "Was there anything wrong with it?" And you can say something like, "It didn't fit," or, "It doesn't work." Be polite and honest. If you're exchanging, they'll usually let you pick another item. If you're returning, they might ask, "Would you like store credit or a refund?" You can choose what works best for you. Then just say, "Thank you." And you're good to go. 12. How to book a hotel room. Alright, if you're planning a trip, one of the first things you'll need to do is book a hotel room. You can do it online, but let's talk about how to do it over the phone or in person. First, call the hotel and say, "Hi, I'd like to book a room, please." They'll probably ask, "What dates are you looking for?" And you can say something like, "From May 10th to May 12th. Then they'll ask, "How many guests?" Or, "What kind of room would you like?" You might say, "Just one person," or, "A room for two with one bed." If you have any special requests, like a late check-in or a quiet room, you can ask, "Is it possible to check in after 9 p.m.? Or, "Do you have a room away from the street?" At the end, they'll probably say, "Can I have your name and credit card number to confirm?" Once it's all set, say, "Thanks so much. I'll see you then." Easy, right? 13. How to use public transportation. Let's talk about taking the bus, train, or subway. Public transportation is super useful, especially if you don't have a car. First, you need to figure out which bus or train to take. You can check a map or ask someone, "Excuse me, which bus goes to the downtown area?" When the bus arrives, check the number and get on. You might need to pay right away. If you're using a card or app, just tap it. If you're using cash, say to the driver, "One ticket, please," and put the money in the machine. On a train or subway, you usually pay before you get on. Inside, listen for announcements or check the screen for your stop. If you're not sure when to get off, you can ask someone nearby, "Does this go to Central Station?" Or, "Can you let me know when we get to 5th Street?" When you reach your stop, press the button or pull the cord to signal. Then just say, "Thank you," to the driver as you get off. It might feel a little confusing at first, but it gets easier every time you do it. 14. How to talk to a neighbor. Meeting or chatting with your neighbor is a great way to feel more at home. Maybe you just moved in, or maybe you see someone outside often and want to say hi. You don't need anything fancy, just start with a simple, "Hi, I'm," your name. "I live next door." You can also say, "I just moved in, nice to meet you." If you see them doing something like gardening or walking a dog, you can ask, "What kind of flowers are those?" Or, "What's your dog's name?" Most people enjoy friendly small talk. If you ever need help, you can ask, "Sorry to bother you, but do you know where the trash bins are?" Or, "Do you have the number for the building manager?" Being polite and open helps build a good relationship. And who knows, you might make a new friend. 15. How to order at a fast food restaurant. Okay, fast food is everywhere: burgers, sandwiches, pizza, you name it. Ordering is usually super quick, so it helps to know what to say. First, you walk up to the counter or go to the drive-thru. They'll probably say, "Hi, can I take your order?" You can say, "Yes, I'd like a number 3 combo, please," or, "Can I get a cheeseburger with fries and a drink?" If you want to customize it, say, "No pickles, please," or, "Can I get that with a Coke?" They might ask, "For here or to go?" Just say, "To go, please," or, "For here." Then they'll say your total, you pay, and wait for your food. When they call your number or name, just grab your food and say, "Thanks." Easy and fast. 16. How to deal with a problem in a hotel or Airbnb. So, you've checked into a hotel or Airbnb, and something's not right. Maybe the room is dirty or the Wi-Fi doesn't work. What do? Stay calm and go talk to someone. At a hotel, go to the front desk and say, "Hi, sorry to bother you, but there's a problem with my room." Be clear and polite. Say, the air conditioning isn't working, or, there are no towels in the bathroom. They'll usually try to fix it or give you another room. If it's an Airbnb, you can message the host. Say something like, "Hi, just letting you know that the shower isn't working properly. Could you help with that?" Most hosts want good reviews, so they'll try to fix the issue quickly. Always be respectful, and take a photo if you need proof. Being calm and clear goes a long way. 17. How to pick up a package or mail. Alright, let's say you're expecting a package or letter. Maybe you live in an apartment or you need to go to the post office. If you're picking something up, just say, "Hi, I'm here to pick up a package for Eddie." They might ask, "Do you have ID?" So have your ID ready just in case. At the post office, they might say, "Do you have a tracking number?" You can show them on your phone. If you live in a building with a package room, check with the front desk or say, "Hi, I think I have a package, could you check for me?" If the package didn't arrive, you can say, "It looks like my delivery didn't come. Can you help me check on it?" Be patient and polite. Most people are happy to help. 18. How to make an appointment at a hair salon. Let's say you want a haircut, a trim, or maybe just a quick styling. You can make an appointment by calling the salon or walking in. Start with, "Hi, I'd like to make an appointment for a haircut." They might ask, "What day and time are you looking for?" Or, "Do you have a preferred stylist?" You can say, "Anytime after 4 p.m. works," or, "No preference, anyone is fine." When you arrive, just say, "Hi, I have an appointment at 3 p.m. under the name Eddie." When you sit in the chair, they'll probably ask, "What would you like today?" Be clear, "Just a trim," or, "I'd like it shorter on the sides." After the cut, they might ask, "Is this okay?" Feel free to ask for small changes. Then you pay, maybe leave a tip, and say, "Thanks so much." 19. How to introduce yourself in a group setting. Sometimes you're in a group, like a class, workshop, or meeting, and everyone's going around introducing themselves. You don't have to say much, just the basics. Start with, "Hi, my name is," your name. You can add where you're from. "I'm from Brazil," or, "I just moved here from Tokyo." Then maybe say what you do. "I'm studying business," or, "I work in marketing." If it's a casual group, you can add a fun fact like, "I love cooking," or, "I play guitar." Keep it short and friendly. A smile helps too. And if someone introduces themselves to you, say, "Nice to meet you." It's all about making connections. 20. How to ask for help in a store. Alright, let's say you're shopping, maybe for clothes, electronics, or groceries, and you can't find something. Just look for a store employee and say, "Excuse me, can you help me?" Then you can say what you're looking for. "I'm looking for black jeans," or, "Do you have any more of these in medium?" If you need help choosing, you can ask, "Which one do you recommend?" Or, "What's the difference between these two?" If you're not ready to buy, it's okay to say, "Thanks, I'm just looking right now." And if they don't know the answer, they might say, "Let me check for you." Don't be afraid to ask. Store employees are there to help. 21. How to call customer service. Okay, let's be honest, calling customer service isn't always fun. Sometimes you're dealing with a problem, or maybe something didn't work the way it was supposed to. But here's the good news, if you know a few key phrases, these calls can go much more smoothly. First, when someone answers the phone, they might say something like, "Thank you for calling, how can I help you today?" You can start with, "Hi, I'm calling about a problem with my order," or, "I have a question about my account." It helps to be polite and calm, even if you're frustrated. If they need to look something up, they might ask, "Can I have your order number?" Or, "Can I verify your name and address?" Just have that info ready if you can. If they put you on hold, they'll usually say, "Please hold for a moment," and you can respond, "Sure, no problem." If you're having trouble understanding them, it's totally okay to say, "I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" Or, "Can you speak a little slower, please?" They're used to hearing that. And if they can't help you right away, they might say, "I'll need to transfer you," or, "Someone will call you back." Just stay patient and say, "Thanks for your help." Being kind and clear makes the whole process easier, for both you and the person on the other end. 22. How to make a doctor's appointment. Making a doctor's appointment is one of those things that might seem stressful, especially if you're new to the country or still learning English. But it's actually a pretty straightforward process. You can start by calling the clinic or walking in. When someone picks up or greets you at the desk, you can say, "Hi, I'd like to make an appointment with a doctor, please." They'll probably ask, "What's the reason for the visit?" Or, "Are you a new patient or returning?" Just answer honestly. You can say something like, "I've had a sore throat for a few days," or, "I need a general checkup." Then they'll ask when you're available. You can say, "Any time next week is fine," or, "Do you have anything open on Friday?" If they offer a few time slots, pick one that works and confirm, "Yes, 2:30 on Thursday is good." They might also say, "Please arrive 15 minutes early," or, "Bring your insurance card and ID." Write that down if you need to. At the end, say, "Thank you, see you then." It's really just about being clear and polite. And if you need to cancel later, no worries, just call and say, "Hi, I need to cancel or reschedule my appointment." 23. How to talk to a waiter at a restaurant. Going out to eat is such a nice way to relax, but if you're nervous about speaking English at a restaurant, don't worry, I've got you covered. When you arrive, the host might say, "Hi, table for two." And you can answer, "Yes, please," or say the number in your group, "A table for four, please." Once you're seated, a waiter will usually come over and say something like, "Hi, I'll be taking care of you today. Can I start you off with something to drink?" You can respond, "Just water for now, thank you," or, "I'll have a lemonade." Then they'll give you time to look at the menu. When you're ready to order, just say, "I'd like the chicken sandwich, please," or, "Can I get the pasta with no cheese?" Feel free to ask questions too, like, "What's the soup of the day?" Or, "Is this dish spicy?" If you need more time, just say, "Can we have a few more minutes?" After your meal, they'll ask, "Would you like dessert?" Or, "Can I get you anything else?" And when they bring the bill, you can ask, "Can we split the check?" Or, "Is tip included?" Finally, say, "Thank you, everything was great." It's a relaxed, friendly exchange, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes. 24. How to talk to a teacher or professor. If you're taking classes, whether it's English, college, or any other subject, you'll probably need to talk to your teacher or professor at some point. It might feel a little intimidating at first, but most teachers are happy to help if you ask politely. If you have a question during class, you can raise your hand and say something like, "Excuse me, I didn't understand that part, could you explain it again?" Or, "Can you give another example?" After class, if you want to talk privately, you can say, "Hi, do you have a moment?" Or, "Can I ask you something about the homework?" If you're writing an email, keep it simple and respectful. Start with, "Dear Professor William," and then say, "I have a question about the assignment due next week." Try to be clear about what you need. "I'm not sure what you meant by section 2, or, is it okay if I submit it a day late?" Always thank them, "Thanks for your help," or, "I really appreciate your time." Good communication with your teacher can make a big difference in your learning, and it shows that you care. 25. How to describe your symptoms at the doctor's office. So, you've made a doctor's appointment, now what? When you get there, you'll need to explain what's wrong. This can be tricky if you're not sure how to describe your symptoms in English. But don't worry, I'll help you with some useful phrases. The doctor might start by asking, "What brings you in today?" Or, "How can I help you?" You can respond with something simple like, "I've had a headache for 3 days," or, "My stomach hurts." If it's something you can point to, like your back or your leg, you can say, "I have pain here," and gesture to the area. You can also explain how it feels. "It's sharp, it's a dull ache," or, "It comes and goes." They might ask, "When did it start?" Or, "Have you taken any medicine?" Try to answer as best you can. "It started last week," or, "I took ibuprofen, but it didn't help." If you're not sure how to say something, it's okay to use hand gestures or ask, "What's the word for this in English?" The doctor wants to understand you, and they'll usually be patient. Just speak slowly, be honest, and don't be afraid to ask questions like, "Is it serious?" Or, "What should I do next?" 26. How to ask someone out or start a friendly conversation. Starting a conversation with someone you like, whether it's a new friend or someone you're interested in, can feel a little scary, especially in a new language. But it doesn't have to be. It's all about being yourself and keeping things casual. If you see someone you'd like to talk to, you can start with a simple comment. Hey, I like your jacket, or, this place is always so busy, isn't it? That opens the door to a friendly chat. If you're in the same class or group, you can say, Hi, I don't think we've met, I'm Edward. Ask open-ended questions like, what do you like to do for fun? Or, have you been to this cafe before? If you feel a good connection and want to hang out again, try saying, would you like to grab coffee sometime? Or, maybe we could go to that new pizza place. Keep it light, and don't worry if they say no, it's still great practice. Just be kind, respectful, and confident. You never know, it might turn into something great. 27. How to talk to a landlord or property manager. Renting a place to live means you'll probably need to talk to your landlord or property manager at some point. Maybe something breaks, or maybe you have a question about the lease. When you call or send a message, it helps to be polite and clear. You can start with, Hi, this is Justine, I live in apartment 3B, and then explain the issue, the kitchen faucet is leaking, or, the heater isn't working. Ask nicely, would it be possible to have someone take a look at it? Or, can we schedule a time for repairs? If it's urgent, say, this needs to be fixed as soon as possible, please. If you're asking about rent or renewing your lease, you might say, I wanted to check when my rent is due, or, I'd like to know the process for renewing. Landlords appreciate when you're respectful and clear. Even if there's a problem, staying calm and polite makes everything easier to solve. 28. How to volunteer or join a community group. Volunteering is such a great way to meet people, practice your English, and help out in your community. Whether it's a food bank, a school event, or a cleanup day at the park, there are lots of ways to get involved. You can start by asking around or searching online. Once you find something, contact the group and say, Hi, I saw that you're looking for volunteers. I'd love to help. They might ask what you're interested in or when you're available. You can say, I'm free on weekends, or, I can help with organizing or setting up. When you show up, just be friendly. Hi, I'm here to volunteer, who should I check in with? Don't worry if you don't understand everything right away, just do your best, ask questions, and be willing to learn. People really appreciate the help, and it's a great way to feel like you belong. 29. How to order something online or over the phone. These days, ordering things online or by phone is super common, groceries, clothes, even takeout. If you're shopping online, the website usually guides you through it step by step. But let's say you need to do it over the phone. Start by saying, Hi, I'd like to place an order, please. They'll ask for the item name or number, so it helps to write it down ahead of time. You might say, I'd like to order the blue running shoes, size 9. They'll ask for your name, address, and payment information, so have that ready. If you're ordering food, say what you want. I'd like a large pepperoni pizza and a salad, and they'll repeat it back to confirm. Ask questions if you're unsure. How long will delivery take? Or, is there a delivery fee? At the end, say, thanks so much, and make sure you get a confirmation number or receipt. Ordering gets easier with practice, and soon it'll feel totally normal. 30. How to handle a job interview. Let's finish this batch with something super important, job interviews. Whether it's your first job or you're applying for something new, interviews can feel nerve-wracking, but preparation helps a lot. First things first, dress neatly and arrive on time, whether it's in person or online. The interviewer will probably start with, can you tell me a little about yourself? You can say, sure. I'm your name, and I've been working in customer service for the past 2 years, or, I recently finished my degree in marketing. They might ask, why do you want to work here? Or, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Keep your answers honest and simple. I'm very organized and enjoy helping people. Or, sometimes I take on too much, but I'm learning to manage my time better. Be ready to ask a question too, like, what does a typical day look like in this role? At the end, thank them. Thank you for your time, it was great to meet you. Interviews are just conversations. Stay calm, be yourself, and show that you're eager to learn and contribute.